Edith and the Prince. Edith the electric engine enjoyed her morning runs. Usually, a small group of passengers greeted her at the junction. Today, throngs of people were packed onto the platform. "What's all this?" she thought, before the crowd began to cheer. Edward came puffing past, adorned with flags and spotless paint. He whistled cheerfully and disappeared down the line. "It's lovely they cheered like that for Edward," Edith remarked. "But, was that it? With all this fuss, you'd think the Queen was—" Another whistle cut her off as Gordon appeared on the horizon. He sparkled in the sunlight, with flags flapping and the coat of arms on his buffer beam. A familiar figure waved from a coach window, and the crowd erupted into thunderous applause. "I didn't think the Queen was coming," chuckled Edith's driver. "I knew she was." Edith was dumbstruck. "Could you ever have imagined," she cooed that night, "the Queen passing our branch line?" "I tend to imagine more exciting things," Eleanor replied flatly. "What could be more exciting than the Queen?" Edith gasped. "Picture us pulling royalty." "The trucks were a royal pain today," Eleanor grinned. "You can take them any time you like." Edith wasn't listening, for she had closed her eyes and was dreaming of kings and queens in her coaches. She was still fantasizing as she sat at the platform the next morning. Her thoughts were broken by the guard, conversing with a man. "Morning, George. Did I hear Prince will be on the train tomorrow?" "Indeed," the man smiled. "He's as excited as ever." "Splendid," the guard replied. "I'm sure everyone will be delighted by his visit." "A prince? Tomorrow?" Edith cried. "We're so ill-prepared. I must tell the others." Edith spread the news to Eleanor, the mountain engines, and the coaches. They waited anxiously next morning for the prince's arrival, some with skepticism. "It doesn't add up," Ernest remarked at the bottom station. "The Queen's arrival was no secret. Why keep things hush-hush just for a prince?" "Royals have their reasons," Edith rationalized. "It could be a surprise. Perhaps he's come to rule the throne from Peel Godred. It is a fortress, after all. Oh, imagine, we'd see him every single day." She was so engrossed in her daydreams, she didn't hear a commotion from the platform. "I don't know what kind of fool you take me for," grumbled the station master, "but we don't sell tickets to dogs." George, the man from the day before, stood at the ticket booth. A glorious German shepherd sat obediently by his side. "We've been on more trains than you've ever sold tickets for, young fella, and never once had this issue." "Is Eddie here giving you trouble, George?" asked the guard, alerted by the argument. "I'm being sensible," retorted the station master. "I've never sold a ticket to a dog, and I'm not starting today." "Well, if you've never done it, it mustn't have been done before," chuckled the guard. "It's no trouble. The dog can ride with me." "That," added the station master, "requires proper paperwork, which I'm assuming you don't have, sir." The argument grew so fierce that no one realized they were late, except Edith. "Oh dear, she fretted. "We can't be late. The prince will get ever so cross. I mustn't let him down." Before the driver could check her, Edith rolled slowly forward. Shocked, the guard frantically blew his whistle, and they all ran down the platform. Edith heard none of it. Come on, she growled, trying to pick up speed. A blur shot past on the line side, and before Edith knew it, a dog stood in her path, barking like mad. She came to a sudden stop, with the dogs staring her down. "Oh!" she cried in surprise. The guard, the station master, and George came running up. "Well done, boy," George smiled, patting the dog's head. "What in the Fat Controller's name are you playing at?" shouted the guard, shaking his flags at Edith. "You proceed only with clear signals and my whistle, not because you feel like it."
"I'm sorry, sir," Edith sighed. "I was worried we'd upset the prince if we were late."
The men blinked, then burst into laughter. "You certainly did upset the prince," George smiled. "So much so, he came chasing after you." Edith stared wide-eyed at the dog. You mean this is—"
"Ho, ho, ho!"
Ernest guffawed as he set off up the mountain. "You should keep that imagination of yours in check, Edith. You might end up in a dangerous situation." "Never mind," smiled the guard, who now felt sorry for her. "Let's make up for lost time. A good run will surely brighten you up." Later, Edith brought her return train to the junction. Eleanor was waiting with her trucks. "So," she smirked knowingly, "how was your run-in with the prince?"
"Memorable," Edith chuckled, "but not like Gordon's encounter with the Queen."
"I heard you shouldn't stare directly at royalty," Eleanor muttered, rolling her eyes. "What's so exciting about a person you can't even look at?" A loud bark made her jump. Prince was looking intently at her.
"There must be something exciting about you," Edith winked. "The prince seems transfixed."
Eleanor harumphed. She'd had quite enough royalty for one day.